Oh, thank you. We forgot to record the last meeting, our first meeting, so I told Molly she cannot let me forget again. Um, so welcome to the LOCAC meeting. I'll go ahead and we'll call roll. I'm Jim Salio. I'm the co-chair of the committee. Molly Brown here. She's co-chair. Gary's here. Jacob's here. And then we're missing from the committee, we're missing Larry and Becky and Brad. So maybe they'll join us later, but everybody's checked in. I have no announcements. Does anybody on the committee have any announcements? Okay, hearing none. I'm going to ask if anybody from the public has anything they want to bring up that's currently not on the agenda. Okay, hearing no comment there. Then we'll jump right into the meeting. We're going to have Claire from Public Works, or excuse me, from Planning rather, sorry. Planning discuss some items with us before we jump into discussing the two permits that we have on the agenda. So Claire, do you want to go ahead and take it away?
Thanks,
Do you need to
Jim.
share your screen or anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And before I get started, is the county logo the right way or is it flipped for you
It's
all?
backwards.
Okay. I'm just gonna fix that so I don't look like a ding dong.
There you go.
Okay, thanks.
You know, we called it the pork chop when they invented it.
Oh, really?
Because it looks like a pork chop.
I could see that. The county of the pork chop. Well, thanks for letting me be here tonight. Again, my name is Claire Momberger. I'm with the county planning and building department from the long range division. So in long range, we focus on the county's housing and community development policy, as well as resource conservation policy. I'm here tonight to talk about two draft ordinance amendments that we have out for public review right now that are related to the county's housing element and the implementation of that. And so I'm sharing the link right now in the chat before I forget. This is on our website where you can find the documents that are out for public review right now, and that's where you could find out how to submit public review should you have any. But essentially, I'm here tonight to speak with the land use committee just about these two actions because housing affordability is a big issue for the county right now in our communities. And the Board of Supervisors is really taking seriously how housing impacts our communities and the businesses in our communities. And, you know, kudos to our Board of Supervisors as they took action in March of last year to direct my department to implement our adopted housing element. And the housing element is this document that we update, we go through cycles, like 8-9 year cycles. Right now, we're in the middle of the 2020 to 2028 housing element, about 60% of the way there. And that housing element has programs in it that will address housing affordability across the entire range of affordability. So both for affordable income and addressing the needs there is what the board did through giving my department some priority actions. And so the two key actions are number one and number two, that those are what's in draft form right now and available for public review and comment. And I wanted to share with the Los Osos Land Use Committee tonight because your subcommittee focuses on land use and zoning, right? And so we're hoping that, you know, what I shared tonight, you can share with the rest of the council because the public review period ends on June 21st. So it opened up on May 21st and then closes on June 21st. And like I said, you can find everything about this update and those ordinance amendments on the website, and also some other helpful info there to kind of orient. Let's dig in. So like I said, there's two actions. Action one is focused on updating the development standards in our code for multifamily projects with the goal of encouraging the development of more multifamily units in our communities. Multifamily, as we all can probably piece together, multifamily developments are generally considered more affordable than the typical single family housing, especially in our county. The standards in the county's code have not been the standards for multifamily development in our county code have not been comprehensively looked at since the 80s, when the original code was really updated. And so these changes that we're proposing to the code are made to support current building trends and construction standards, and to make development more efficient for builders in our communities. And right now, to get around the challenges of the code, builders have to utilize the pretty complicated state density bonus program, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a few minutes. But that program helps builders kind of get around those kind of outdated code challenges to make the most efficient site design and project outcomes. And so with action one, the amendments we're proposing are to amend our baseline standards so that we can achieve the maximum dwellings per acre that are allowed for in the county's general plan. And I'm just keeping it high level right now, but you can find a summary. If you don't want to read through the draft amendments, we have a summary table on the website where you can find what those amendments are to update those standards. And relevant to the CAC, these amendments don't change the CAC referral process at all. If there are projects that are in the CAC areas that use these updated standards, they'll still be referred to the CAC. So that really covers action one. Action one of the two that I'm sharing about tonight is like the most straightforward, right? Updating standards. And so action two is where I'd like to turn our attention to now. And so action two is a key action in our board's pursuit of tackling housing affordability in our county. Action two is direction from the board to develop a voluntary incentive program to encourage more housing to be built. Now, for context, this voluntary incentive program does not apply to the coastal zone right now, or as proposed. We're proposing to apply to the inland portions first, to kind of see how this goes, because that's where we have most interest in building affordable housing at this time. But still, we wanted, because this is a new program, wanted to inform the LOCAC council about what's going on. And so, typically we refer ordinance amendments through your liaison, but because this is a new program and it is a significant step towards seeing more affordable housing in our communities, I wanted to come here tonight to speak about it. And so if you were, privy to the amendments that my department reached out about with state ADU law and Senate Bill 9, those amendments are meant to just align our code with the state law. But like I said, this action two, this voluntary incentive program, is a new program and it's useful. And we think, it'll be helpful for you all to be informed about it, so that if any projects are referred to in the future that use this voluntary incentive program, you have some understanding. And so to kind of give some context to this voluntary incentive program, How many of you have heard about the state density bonus law or state density bonus program? Yeah, so some of us, yeah. I'll just kind of, give some context. That's a state mandated program. So if a builder provides guaranteed affordable housing in a project they propose, they're able to get what's called a density bonus, which is really an increase in the allowable dwelling units per acre that they can have on the project. They can, if they provide guaranteed affordable housing, they can also get reductions in parking. They can get what's called concessions, which is a reduction in development standards. So that could be, reducing the maximum height to make the project pencil out, reducing, parking setback. And then there's also these things in that program called waivers, which is waiving development standards that make it difficult for the housing to be built at all on a project site. So that's the state mandated program. And then the way we have seen that play out in our county since state density bonus law passed is the county's regulations and development standards are so restrictive that they make it really challenging for builders to achieve that maximum units per acre that is allowed by our code. So it's like our code says, hey, you can do this much, but the standards kind of bring people down here because they're so difficult to comply with to get to that maximum units per acre. And so the density bonus program is, a pathway provided by the state to get relief from those regulations. So that's the larger context before I jump into our local voluntary incentive program. Are there any questions about how the density bonus program works before I move on? Okay. Okay. It's okay. That's good. You guys are better than me. It took me a long time to really understand that process. So back to action 2, the voluntary incentive program. Now that describing the state density program will give you some context as to how our action 2 differs from that. So with action 2, just like the density bonus program, 1, it's voluntary, and 2, it allows builders who contribute guaranteed affordable housing to our communities to achieve incentives. Because again, affordable housing is important for our communities and for our economy. People who work in our communities are able to stay here if there's housing that's affordable to them. I mean, I don't know about you all, but I have a fair amount of, I know a handful of people who have had to move away. They grew up here, but they had to move away because they can't afford to live here. I mean, a lot of workers have to commute into SLO from out of the area. Before I got married, I qualify for low income housing. So even though I work for the county, like it's difficult to live here and to make a way for yourself. And so with that challenge, like the state density bonus program, it does work to a certain degree in our county, but its effectiveness is limited because it's a state program. There's such a high bar to participate. And the typical builders in our area don't specialize in building guaranteed affordable housing because it involves, one, really specific income limits provided by the state. There are strict regulations from the state on what that guaranteed affordable housing can look like, be like. And it's just a different economic and business model for a typical builder to create that guaranteed affordable housing. And so this action 2 new voluntary incentive program that we're proposing, and that's out for public review, will allow builders to either 1, build guaranteed affordable units themselves, or 2, pay an in-lieu fee. And the benefits of the in-lieu fee, if they want to use this voluntary local incentive program, are that the fee goes into this collective pool of money that would be available to nonprofit developers in SLO County who specialize in building affordable housing. And those nonprofit developers can use the government tax credit system to build those guaranteed affordable units. And what's kind of why this is so beneficial is because the nonprofits can turn a $1 contribution from our voluntary incentive program into $9 from out of area money because of state and federal tax credits and private donations and grants that those nonprofits alone have access to, and that our county would otherwise not receive. Like I said, oftentimes for like the typical builder in our county, the cost to participate in the state density bonus program outweighs the benefits. It's an expensive carrying cost to include building out low income units. And this new Action 2 incentive program allows for a lower cost of entry to make affordable housing in our county happen. And so the goal with proposing this Action 2 voluntary incentive program is to create a win-win situation for builders, the county, people in our county who need to be able to afford to live where they work. Sometimes a builder's project just needs a little bit of a push. Like, for example, like they just need a couple inches in height reduction, or they only need to take one parking space out to make it work on their project site to build housing. And that small incentive they could get if they use the state density bonus program, but it might not be worth the cost of building the affordable units to them. And so this local voluntary incentive program can help give them that push. And then the county needs guaranteed affordable housing in addition to more market rate units. This program would leverage builders' dollars to bring in dollars from outside the area here to help our nonprofit partners build affordable housing. And so that's kind of the high level description. Just to recap, this regional voluntary incentive program allows builders to reduce standards for contributing to guaranteed affordable housing, just like the state density bonus law. But this incentive program helps builders achieve the maximum unit per acre as allowed by the county general plan by reducing the participation threshold that otherwise the state density bonus program would require. And so if through this process a builder contributes to that fund through the in lieu fee, then the experts at building affordable housing, the nonprofits, can fund more housing units that are affordable across the range to our communities. And so now that I've given you like high level conceptually what the program is about, I feel like we can talk about how it works. So essentially a builder would contribute to affordable housing in our county by building guaranteed affordable units. And through that, they get points, let's call it. And they can use those points on various incentives. And there's on our website, there's kind of like a list of what those smaller incentives could be. The difference here from the state density bonus program is that they have through our local incentive program, the option to pay that in lieu fee instead of building the guaranteed units to get points. And then the dollars that they contribute to our from fund go towards grant programs that nonprofit builders would, compete to fund for 100% from out of area money. And so those points that the builder would earn could be used to increase the units per acre on the project, to increase the height
walk for the bike
allotment, to reduce parking, reduce setbacks, just like the state density program, but just at a more achievable threshold. And then our county Department of Social Services actually already administers a housing grant program in the county. And so we're proposing that the contributed funds from builders would be distributed through the existing grant program. So 2 more points I want to make, and then
we wrap it up, Claire, because we have 20 minutes is what Mason said. That
did I already hit 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I can wrap it up. And so those again, those builder contributions would essentially fund a new grant. There's already a pathway for distributing those funds through the Department of Social Services. And then, of course, just want to say, if a project that utilizes this local incentive program pops up, they would go through the usual CAC referral process that we do now. That's standard. So, sorry to take up more time than I anticipated, but that's action 2. Like I said, the link's in the chat if you want to go on there and look through what's available for public review. And then I can take any questions right now if you want to make time for that, Jim and Molly.
Does anybody have any questions for Claire? Molly?
I do. Yeah, I have a question. So, would you still, with this new program, if developers are kind of paying into it and then something's going to be built somewhere, is there still going to be situations where you can have, say, a big development of a bunch of single family residences, but you also maybe would put in a couple apartment buildings in the same kind of geographic complex of the development, or would it lend itself more towards more separate projects?
Are you kind of trying to get a feel for what the scale could be, Molly?
I'm trying to get a sense of, is all the low income housing going to be segregated off by itself rather than being kind of mixed in within other new developments of single family residences, for instance?
I see. Yeah. Actually, one of the kind of loosely held policies that our department has is that, and that's really backed up by state law, is that affordable units should be mixed in with regular market rate units. And we actually usually will have a condition that the units need to be built. So a lot of times these projects are built in phases, but we'll often have a condition on the use permit that the affordable units need to be built at the same time as market rate or things like that.
Okay, great. Yeah, sounds really good. And so is the basic idea that then builders they're putting money or points or whatever you're calling it, they're putting something into an account when they're doing their own project, and then that money is going to go towards a low income project, maybe someplace else or maybe within theirs, but to be kind of managed, built by a nonprofit like Housing Authority or something. Right,
because those are really the experts. And like I said, $1 from our regional fund could turn into $9. It can inflate that much because the nonprofits have access to out of area money.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? All right. Well, good luck, Claire. This sounds like quite a undertaking. So
I'm just a voice tonight. My coworkers have been working really hard on the ordinance amendment. So please check them out. But thanks for your support. And like I said, reach out if you have any questions.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Claire.
Thanks, Claire. All right. Then we'll move on to the Fogel. So can you, okay, you're unmuted there. We have, so how we kind of do this is you present your project. We have the information from the planning department website, the permit and everything like that. So if you kind of just want to walk us through the project and then from there, we'll make a decision whether it goes on to what we call the consent agenda for the overall LOCAC body, or if it's going to be up for further discussion at LOCAC.
Okay, hi, I'm Brad Fogel and my wife Terry. We're planning on this to be our future home. I'm a general contractor. I've been licensed since 1981. I've done lots of residential projects all over the county. And we lived in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho for 10 years, and I built homes up there as well. So it was all pretty similar kind of thing. So what we're looking at here is a pretty simple home that, I mean, you're not seeing, I don't know if you have the plans there, if you,
Yeah.
I mean, a pretty simple design, but there's things I'm not really showing on there. I intend to do some rock veneer work on the front and a structure of some sort, and maybe a kind of a courtyard situation in front to soften the house, so to speak. I think it's going to have a metal roof or maybe a tile roof. I'm not sure yet. We'll have good quality windows, stucco, and kind of a modern style is what I'm kind of looking at. What what questions might you have about the
So
project?
let's bring it back to the committee. And does anybody have any questions for the Fogels?
I had just one question, which, I did review the plans and everything, but what the height of your building is, the highest height, was it 14 feet?
15
15, okay, okay,
max allowable, I believe. And I'm not
okay.
sure, there's a bit of finish grade, variance there, so
Mhm.
probably buy me a little more, but essentially we're looking at 15 feet. I was
Yeah,
trying not to do a flat roof out there. I really not a big fan of flat roofs if
mhm,
possible, so I just did a very low 3 and 12 pitch on the house.
yeah, it's a nice looking project,
Well, thank you.
yeah,
I think it will be. It's
yeah.
looking real fancy on paper, but I think it's gonna look
So the question I had is, where are you on the list, on the build list?
We're 53, we're out there,
Okay,
and the reason
yeah,
I'm here is because when we first started going to these meetings, the town halls and such, and Bruce Gibson was saying, I get moving on this. We want to, we're gonna maybe do 60 homes a year, and we don't know exactly, but you don't want to not be ready if you get called and we don't know what's happening. And so I got ready. I'm just wanting to kind of move forward on things, and I'm ahead of the game in some cases, but with a minor use permit, it's out there a ways. And
right, right. And have you started getting water credits yet?
that's something I'm kind of lagging on, and I need to I've done a lot of remodel and such in Los Osos over the last 10 years. Lots of bathrooms, kitchens, and I need to see if any of that's going to be possibly acceptable. And I haven't really gone that route yet to talk to anyone. Kind of taking one step at a time, but the retrofits are kind of the I think, last big hurdle.
Yeah, yeah, it's the, we've just heard that it's getting harder and harder to get water credits, so.
Yeah. Are you expecting any mitigations regarding that? That was a question I had for you guys.
So I've heard rumors, I know Bruce Gibson's talked about maybe irrigation being retrofitting being part of that process, but that's not in the regulations as of yet.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I think as this goes along, it's going to be real tough. I mean, right now it's tough. So
Yeah,
imagine 100 homes down the line.
right.
There is 100 homes, and who knows?
Yeah. Well, it's a nice project. I agree with Molly. Have you had that lot for a long time?
Yeah, something 36, 7 years, something like that.
Gosh.
Love
Probably.
it. Yeah, and
Beautiful
we
area.
build right
Pasadena is
away.
really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you had made the plans. We were ready to
Yeah.
submit it, and that day or whatever, the moratorium went
Yeah,
into
I was
effect.
halfway through with a set of,
Oh, jeez.
Ah,
It was that close, and so that's why we moved to Idaho, because we just needed to be,
Oh, my word.
yeah. But we came back.
that
Wow.
was the last straw.
Yeah, that was rough, but yeah.
But it's, I think it's been tough in Los Osos with the sewer and the whole thing. It's, there's been so much going on out there, and we lived there for 14 years, and, I know the town very well, but I don't
It's
know.
hard to build. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy, and it's getting harder every day, everywhere,
Mhm.
and more expensive, and that's a concern with you know, part of the reason for my simplistic design there is I don't know where it's going to go. It's You know, I think building could be up $500, $600 a foot by the time this gets ready. It's really high.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of uncertainty. Any other questions for the Fogels? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to, if we want to move it on to the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to send it to the consent agenda for the main LOCAC meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Gary. So we have first and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand. Okay, it's unanimous, and it has to be unanimous to move on to the, so it'll be on the LOCAC agenda. We'll let you know, well, it'll be the next meeting, which is what day is that, Molly?
The fourth Thursday, let me just pull it up here.
7th, I think you said.
Fourth
Oh.
Thursday.
No, that wouldn't be 7th.
The 26th
Oh,
Yeah, 26th.
at 6:30 PM on Zoom also. It's the
But
main
usually,
meeting.
when it's on the consent agenda, there's really no discussion. It's just a recommendation from the land use committee that the project be okayed by the LOCAC body.
okay. Great. Well, thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Okay, you
You
guys,
too.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Okay, and then the next item, Chris, is that you?
Yeah. Can you see me?
I cannot. I see your camera's on, but we can't see you. It's just a black screen.
Yeah, it's my son's laptop because I don't have one camera on my computer, and then he tried setting it up for me, and here's where I'm at.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
We'll just picture you in our head.
All right.
All right, Chris, if you want to present your project.
Yeah, I think my wife is on here as well. The Dr.
Or
K.
is that Dr. K? Okay.
Yeah, it's Chrissy.
So
I don't know if you can unmute her as well.
I don't know if do I need to unmute?
I think people have
I don't see
permission.
her on there.
Oh, you
Okay,
know,
there I am.
Okay.
Hi.
Yeah,
Hi, can you hear me?
Does your camera work?
I am having a hard time getting it to work. Hold on
Okay.
a second. Let's see here.
Well, we can just go ahead without the camera.
It's okay. If you
Okay.
can't
Yeah.
get it to work, that's fine.
Okay.
All right.
I guess I'll start out by saying I'm born and raised in Los Osos. My father's been a contractor out here since 1974. And now I've been running the business for about the last 10 years. My wife and I met up in the Bay Area, and we decided to move our kids back here to the Central Coast because it's got great schools and it's a beautiful area. And we ended up purchasing an acre lot across the street from where I grew up, across the street from where my parents live currently on the Pomo Avenue. And we just kind of want to build our dream house where our kids, one of our kids is off to college right now at UCSB, and the other is sophomore in high school, and we want a nice home for them to be able to come back and stay. And if, once they get married and have kids, they can come back with their grandkids and be able to stay in the house. And we want this to kind of be our kind of a forever home. And we've been thinking about this for the last, I guess, almost 8 years, 9 years now.
And Jim, I will add in that they are outside of the main sewer zone, the main prohibition zone in the main
Thank
part
you,
of
Molly.
Los Osos. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have on our plans the sewer or our well, and we already have our well, but for our septic and our leach field, we have all that on the plans. And
So, Chris, I know I talked to Dane at planning, and I guess this project was originally brought forward in like 2018. Was that you guys, or was that somebody else?
No, that was us. Actually, I think we believe we started in 2016. We did our due
16, okay.
diligence and went into the county, asked if there was any restrictions on the lot before we purchased it, and there was nothing came up on the screen. It was all blank. And then we went ahead and purchased the lot. We were told we were outside the coastal zone and a couple other things, and they said you could go ahead and get us, your water permit and your sewer should be no problem, because the local sewer wasn't running all the way down Napomo Avenue. So they said that was fine. And then as we kind of started going through the process, then some more notes came up on our property on the APN at the county planning. And it said, well, no, now they need to be under jurisdiction of the Coastal Commission, and we need to do archaeology and biology. So we went ahead and so then we had to pull a minor use permit for that. And I believe that was in 2000, either 17 or 18. And then we went ahead and did our archaeology and our biology. We did our BRA. We did not apply for an ITP yet. And we were trying to submit our habitat conservation plan at the time with Julie down at US Fish and Wildlife. And then she said that she wasn't taking them any longer. And I mean, I'm sure you guys know what's been happening here in Los Osos with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife and going back and forth. And they kept telling us, oh, the community conservation plan's very, very close, or, going back and forth. And so you guys just need to deal with the county on as far as the HCP. And so that's kind of where we're at. And then Dane, I reached out to someone in the county, I think Carrie Brown, and she led me over to Dane to kind of go over to make sure that our biology and our archaeology kind of fit in with the new habitat conservation plan that's, for the community. And so we had the memo sent in to Dane and all that. And so I guess we're just kind of waiting to see what the next step is. And if you guys have any questions, go for it.
So, you're outside the coastal zone, or are you inside the coastal zone now?
We were told at the beginning we were outside the coastal zone. But I think we were told somewhere halfway through this whole process, that we may be under their jurisdiction, but not in the zone. If that makes sense. Like they
Yes.
oversee it, but we're not actually in the coastal zone. If that makes sense.
I have a couple questions. I don't know if you're done, Jim.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I looked at the HCP stuff, and it looked like there were no oak trees on the property. Is that correct?
No oak trees. We plan to put some oak trees on it, but not
Okay,
right now.
great. Okay, and then is the septic system going to be one of those, I don't know what they're calling them now, kind of an advanced package system of some type?
No, I don't believe so. It's going to be a traditional.
Okay. Because wasn't that, Jim, wasn't that a thing with, like anyone in Los Osos, like Cabrillo Estates, if someone with an existing house up there, if the septic system were to fail, they have to put in a new modern type of system, and I forget what it's called.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
But I wondered if that was applicable to this property or not.
But they are in the coastal zone.
Oh,
up in
maybe
Cabrillo
that's the
Estates.
difference. Okay. All right. And then let's see. The roof, it looks like your roof height is 26 feet.
Correct.
And do you
I
know
believe
if
that's
that-
lower. I believe that's lower than the two-story house on the property to the west of us, because their house is set all the way on the back of the property.
Oh, uh-huh.
And then also the house behind our house, the Lori's property, her house is also two-story, and it's actually going to be higher than our, because we're gonna level out the middle of our property, so it's
Because you're
actually
on kind of on a hillside, yeah.
yeah, so we're gonna kind of level it out, so we're gonna be kind of closer. Yeah, so our 26 feet should be under both of those houses' height.
Yeah, okay. And then just it looked like you had quite a big garage, so was
Yes,
that
living
a
out in Los
particular reason?
Osos. Yeah, living out in Los Osos for so long, we hate storing stuff outside, especially being on the hillside. I don't want to have like our travel trailer sitting out, out on
Oh,
the side of the yard.
right.
I don't want, I have a vintage Bronco. I don't want that sitting outside. Um, I mean, I watched my parents. They've now got a big metal building to house, some of their stuff.
Yeah.
It just looks cleaner.
So you just
And
wanted the space, yeah, for
well,
storage.
yeah, and then if you park your car outside too, you got sand that gets on it, the dew every morning, and then you run your windshield wiper, it scratches your wind. Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta have everything inside.
I hear that, yeah. Okay, those were all my questions. Thank you.
Okay.
So, Chris, I guess I'm not really understanding what was the delay between when you started this and now? I mean, because has it just been the environmental
It's
things?
been the environmental in the county and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Yeah, I mean, we would have loved to build 5, 6 years ago, as soon as we were
Right.
done with the archaeology and biology. Um, and yeah, it just keeps going. So we'd love to build as soon as possible. Um, at one point we even tried turning in our building plans, and they said building department said no, you got to keep going through county planning.
Because
So
I know your project's is on a informational hold status, but then I talked to Dane and he said, well, that's because it was originally 10 years ago when this started.
yeah,
And then nothing's changed environmentally on the property. The
right,
last letter you submitted was everything was the same as it was when you did the environmental study back in 2016,
right,
17, right?
right. Yeah, we have like one or two manzanita plants at the very top back of the property, and I love manzanita, so we've actually wanted to keep those from day one. Yeah, so
So it kind of sounds like you were in a limbo area where people were still doing their own environmental
yes,
studies versus going to this HCP program where people are going to pay into it. That
correct.
sounded like that's kind of what slowed you down.
So we got all of our water credits, all that. They told us not to turn them in, but we have all of our new receipts and forms for all of our, we went and replaced people's toilets and all that stuff. And
Mhm.
really, there's nothing left here in Los Osos to change anymore. Um, I mean, you talk to any contractor out here and there's no more stuff to retrofit anymore. And then you talk to this, the sewer plant out here and they don't even have enough water going to the sewer plant most of the time. So that's causing problems with backups and things like that. So yeah, and then I'm not even going to be on the sewer, so I don't, that doesn't really matter for us, I guess, too much.
Right. And you're not, because you're not in the prohibition zone, you're not on a build list. You could just build whenever they go okay to build, right?
Correct, correct.
Huh. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, well, I'll entertain a motion to move this onto the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion to move it to the consent.
I'll second it.
Jacob, you second. Thank you. So we have a first and second. Any discussion? Hearing no discuss. Oh, yes, Gary.
Yeah, my only question was about that sewage treatment. I was understanding that new construction had to have that. Maybe that's incorrect, but I know a couple of neighbors, they did some new construction and they had to put that in. And I'm right down the street.
Well, we just, I have a project going right now on Mountain View, in Los Osos, Mountain View in, Ramona, and he put in a traditional, septic on his.
Okay.
And actually, he put one in that was like the kind of the hoop. It's like a plastic hoop that they bury in the ground, and then that's for the leach field. And then it was a concrete sewer,
Oh, okay.
so just traditional.
Any other discussion? Larry? You're muted, Larry.
Hi. Um, if there is a question about the sewer thing, why don't we just put this on the regular agenda, and at the LOCAC meeting, we'll have representatives from the building thing, you know, to actually clear this up for us. Cause it is an issue. As far as I know, also that they need to go to the new leach field system. That's a step system or something like that. I don't know what it's actually called.
Okay.
Does that make sense, folks?
Yeah,
Since
no,
there's,
that's fine. If you want to have it go on the more discussion, and we'll have, you're right, we'll have public works or planning there.
yeah. So we need to either table the motion that was made,
mhm.
and I'll make a new motion, or somebody else can make a new motion, but
We can table the one that I made. And then you can go
Okay.
ahead.
so that's made. I make a motion that we put this on the LOCAC regular agenda with question about the septic system for the representatives from county planning and building to comment on it.
Okay. We'll make sure that somebody's there that can talk to it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll second well, if we want to have a discussion first.
Well, no, we'll take a second. So Molly seconded.
Okay, I'll
Any
second.
other discussion on this new motion? Okay. Well, then we'll hearing no discussion, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, then, so Chris, this will be on just our regular agenda, so we'll discuss it
Okay.
more. So if you can be there or somebody can be there to talk about the project.
Okay. Yeah,
so it's-
originally the county was the one that told us, county planning, at the counter was the one that told us that we should to do the traditional septic.
Okay.
So I don't, if something's changed, I'm not sure, but that's when we applied for a MUP. I'm not sure if we're grandfathered in
Okay,
on certain things because we started so long ago. I know there's certain things that yes, we may have to do, but I know like some maybe Title 24 requirements, but that's on the building side.
okay,
But I wasn't sure if we're locked in to where we started, and because we were kind of held up by different agencies, I guess, or departments, and that's not really, that wasn't kind of, I guess, our fault in a sense.
right.
Like we would have loved to build right when we tried to apply, and so I'm not sure if we actually even fall into having to put in a new like a new style septic.
Okay, so we'll pose that question to Dane
Okay.
at planning, and he'll have an answer for us for our LOCAC
Sure.
meeting.
And what's the date on that and the time?
It's at 6:30 p.m. and the date is the 26th, Thursday, the 26th of June.
Okay.
At 6:30 on Zoom.
Okay.
And so we'll have either someone from Public Works there or we'll just have an answer on that topic.
Okay, and then Molly, should I reach out to you via email then right before that meeting and you can give me a link, or should I just go straight on to the same where I am now?
Yeah, go on to
Under
the
land
same one
use.
you're on now and you'll click on for joining a meeting. It'll be on the first meeting that pops up for the
Okay.
main LOCAC monthly meeting.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
and we'll get it all sorted
Okay.
out.
All right, great, sounds great.
All right, well, thank
Okay,
you
thank you
folks
very
for,
much.
okay, then that's that. I have no other business. Does anybody have any other business we need to discuss? Jacob?
I have a question. I'm an appointed public member. I think I've been on for 2 years.
Okay,
How do I continue? Do I have to be reappointed?
Oh,
Presuming you want to have me, of course, but
yeah, no, we want you. You can't get out of this. Well, let me look at we're in the process of working on our policies and procedures as it relates to elections. But that's for for LOCAC committee members. So I'm not sure how,
I saw there's like you can do it so many times in a row. There's a cooling off period, this sort of thing,
Right,
but I didn't
right,
see
and
it
I'm-
like kind of specifically addressed. How do I stay?
Okay.
How do I come again? Yeah,
we will get an answer for you.
cool. Yeah, no rush, no
But
problem.
in the meantime, don't go anywhere.
Cool, I'll be here.
I just,
Yeah,
I'm
Larry.
still here. I apologize for being late. I got to reprogram my Google Calendar. It still has the 7 o'clock
7, yeah.
meeting. So I got to tell Google it's 6:30. Also, just personal thing, it'd be nice if we could all communicate to each other, like the day before the meetings, to remind us about the meetings and the things we're talking about. I totally spaced on it. End of the month, that was it. And
I updated the little document you guys made with links to the filings for the projects today.
yeah,
I don't know if that counts as defacing the document, but I figured it was helpful. So
Yeah. Okay, just a word there. A lot's going on in our world right now, uh, and it's hard to keep track of everything, everything local here that's going on too. Just
Yeah,
just
lots
comment.
of changes.
My 2 cents worth. I'll
Uh,
shut up.
I have a thing which some people have already heard, but I learned today just about community stuff, that the group that's Save Cuesta Inlet, they went into escrow on that project, on that piece of land to try and buy it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it's great news.
Congratulations. Go for it.
So they have
Yeah.
6 months. They have 6 months to raise the money. It's going to cost $730,000. But this is a good step. Getting into escrow is a good start. And they'll be doing fundraising and looking for grants and various things. So it's really exciting.
awesome.
Maybe they could just sell all the kayaks out there.
There you go.
All right. Anything else for the meeting?
Yeah, just a quick thing. I just wanted to make
Gary?
sure that you have access to the Gmail account now, right? Correct?
I do.
Okay, I was trying to get Molly to get Gmail to the main LOCAC Gmail because we're having trouble with Zoom. Sometimes
Okay.
if it won't let you log in, and it sends an email to the Gmail account. So it's important that a chair or a co-chair can access that now. You can do it now, right?
I can do it. Yes.
Okay,
Is
so
there something I need to do to make that happen on my end?
yes, you need to contact David Cheney. He's controlling that account now.
Okay.
He's got to be by his phone after he sends you the link, and it'll send a text notification to him. Once you're in, you're in.
Right.
Okay.
You got to get
Right.
you'll get the password and then because the first time you log in, it'll require a verification code that will be sent to David's phone.
Right. Okay.
That way we won't have these little accidents like we had with the tree and landscape where they couldn't get into the Zoom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Glad somebody's
She's in too now. So
Yeah.
what's
Okay.
that, Larry?
Oh, Larry was saying something?
Yeah, I'm glad somebody's figuring this all out. It was a nightmare for me.
And Jacob, Jacob, were you saying that you put the these documents for these 2 projects in the on the website?
I put in the agenda for tonight. They had the plan numbers, and I just turned the plan number itself into a link to the.
Okay, I wasn't able to work out that link thing on this month on the agenda.
I had to search for them because they're not. I think only the recent project, the first one of the 2, basically the focal project, is like exactly the plan number in their system. You have to cut the C off to get the Shalowitz one because it's older and the formatting's different basically in their database. So
Oh, I see. Okay.
if you do DRC 2016 triple lot 52, you'll get it. But if you put the C on there, good luck. It will find no results. So or you'll have to fish through 70. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. It's another tip, pay attention when you're searching on that for the exact match, which is on by default. That only works for the new projects where they're all reasonably, not even all of them, but most of them are correctly categorized. If you turn exact match off, it's a checkbox there and then hit the search again. It's a
Oh.
fuzzy match. And you'll get more results. It's more trash and things that aren't relevant necessarily always, but it's helpful in finding stuff like this where
would it be, I mean, you guys don't get the original email from planning. So planning sends out the email and it actually goes to Deborah. And then she forwards it to Molly and myself. That has the
Oh,
link. It has,
Is everybody else not getting it?
I think it's just
I've
going to,
never
I think
received
Deborah's
any of
just
that
sending
stuff.
it to you and me.
Oh, I thought everybody was getting it. Okay.
Nope.
Shoot.
So
Well,
we should probably get an email list of everybody, and then maybe Molly, if you don't mind, forwarding on that to everybody on the committee.
sure.
Yeah,
No,
I did.
Or-
it should go, it should come directly from county to.
Well, it
all-
does to Deborah.
All,
It does.
all
To-
no, not to Deborah, to it, when I was on LOCAC, it also came to me and all
Committee.
subcommittee, heads. You know, because I was talking to county planning directly if I
Yeah.
had questions.
There was some kind of
And-
list that Larry was forwarding off of when he was chair that you would forward with comments to us, like I as the public member would get it as a result of that basically, but
Yeah. But the county should be sending not just Deborah. They have a list. They can put all everyone's email, at least chair heads like land use and tree and
Well, we'll try. We've just got Deborah on. Essentially, they were going to Trish before, so I mean, we finally got Deborah on there. And when we went to the orientation, they didn't sound too excited about sending it out to anybody else but the chair of the advisory committee because it's a lot of work.
wrinkle some feathers. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Well,
we're
don't really-
volunteers.
okay.
We need as much help as we can get.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
This goes
And
back to that. This goes back to the issue I was talking about with the LOCAC Gmail. If they sent it there, anybody that had access, like yourself as chair, could send it to your chair members.
That's a good idea. I mean, if we had, then that would, maybe we'll try that, and then that might be easier to
There you go.
get it.
Did it
Put
need,
that
at least
email on
needs
there.
to get forwarded to all the people that are on this committee for sure, because
Right.
that's the fastest way for
Yeah,
everybody
because
to be
then
able to review
it
it.
has the link right to the Public
Yeah.
Works webpage for the permit and everything else. So it's super easy.
So there's
We'll get it. We'll work on that.
they're
Yeah, we'll
currently
work on
sending
that.
they're currently sending it to Deborah's personal email.
No, I think to her LOCAC one. I'm
I
not
think it's to
sure
her.
which one.
Let me look. I think it's to her Gmail.
Okay, because I didn't see that in the Gmail.
It's not coming to LOCAC information. I know that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where it should go, because as heads change and department and subcommittee heads change, that will change.
Yeah.
But the LOCAC
Okay.
Gmail will never change.
All right. That's where we need to have it sent.
Correct.
Okay. We can do that. We'll work on that.
And that should be for all the committees.
Yeah, I mean, well, every committee head should have access to the LOCAC info website or
Right.
Gmail
Well,
rather.
We're working on it.
Yeah. So I know Andrea got it today. I have it now. So I think we're pretty close.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, thank you
Have
guys.
a good rest of your evening.
You as
Okay,
well.
bye.
Yep, thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you.